is the president acting on gunpoint? If yes, situation is similar to Bangladesh. Over to you, Uddhab.
Yes, boss, Mr. Bose, you have raised very valid question. Definitely, that was kind of anxiety within Nepal also. Within Nepal, people were fed up of having these three people always bargaining for nonsense and always offering very many agendas to the people, saying that we'll take Nepal to this height and that height, Singapore, sometimes European height. I always tell, for example, everyone in South Asia want democracy without being a Democrat. We have had one new constitution, and this is the seventh constitution in 70 years' time. At least thanks to those angry youth, they are not demanding for new constitution. They are asking for some amendment that is genuine, that is democratic. But I guess this 2015 constitution will be sustained in the future, and I believe that very constitution is workable to accommodate every grievances, every limitations, and every angers within the country.
That's great. How long do you believe you will take to rebuild your country? Unfortunately, you are rebuilding your country once in a decade.
So it may take half a decade, a huge amount of money we have to spend. Prime Minister, Lady Prime Minister, Madam Karki, she has lot many challenges and lot many issues to handle together with.
Hi, this is Pratim Ranjan Bose, and you are watching Podcast with Pratim. I have with me Dr. Uddhab Pyakurel. We know each other for more than a decade. Dr. Pyakurel teaches international relations in Kathmandu University. Obviously, we will discuss Nepal. Welcome, Uddhab.
Namaste. I teach political sociology.
Okay, sorry. Uddhab, before we start, here is one rider. We are not
Yeah.
going to use as ambiguous a term like Gen Z in this podcast. I have a reason. It is the character of the youth to protest. The street protests I'm talking about. But I find a style sheet in using a particular terminology. It started from Bangladesh, and this is, I understand there is a style behind and a reason behind. In Bangladesh, it was used for takeover of power by Islamists through a movement which was supported and participated by all. So that is why I'm getting out of this Gen Z uh, kind of fad. Let's go to the first question. Former Chief Justice Susila Karki took oath as your first woman Prime Minister from President Ramchandra Porel. She will head an interim government. My question is, which one is the bigger news? That you got to see your president, Mr. Ramchandra Porel, after 4 days, or the oath of Justice Karki? In your as well as my constitution, president is a titular head. He is the supreme commander of the army, and power should concentrate to him when the government is absent. But President Porel was not visible or audible in the last 4 days. We saw army deciding about the government. Many point out that army chief's address to the nation without the photo of the president in the background is a deviation from standard practice. So the point here is the president acting on gunpoint? If yes, situation is similar to Bangladesh. Over to you, Uddhab.
Yes, boss, Mr. Bose, you have raised very valid question. Definitely, that was kind of anxiety within Nepal also. Whatever you have seen, we also watched this, and we also were sort of definitely having anxiety, also alert of what is happening. And uh, definitely, there was a huge protest. That protest went towards a very violent movement as well. Many properties were burned, demolished, etc. And at least for 2 days, the situation was like this. And all Democrats in Nepal, all those who were following constitutionalism and kind of this democratic process were worried because Prime Minister, we were told that Prime Minister resigned, but no one knew that where Prime Minister is and whether and in what basis he resigned. And then definitely, yes, definitely it was kind of movement targeting at least three top leaders, and because they were there in power for decades, and they were having a kind of roaming chair to be in the prime minister, and that is why anger was there, and prime minister definitely had to resign, and that was kind of agenda of the movement as well. And but after resignation, the situation was in a way a bit fragile, and your people like you and me and also many Democrats had a feeling like what is happening, whether Nepal is also moving towards Bangladesh direction. And even during the protest, one thing was very much noticed by many people, because military and even police, whatever security forces we have, we paid them taking our own taxpayers' money just to secure our property. And this is the kind of concern about state building as well. For example, now state is created in a contract basis, because we feel like we pay tax and we get security from the state. And whole this very agenda was in a way not visible, not applicable, and not noticeable, at least in the second day of protest. And there is a huge military force, but they do nothing while destroying, while there is destruction and kind of violent protest, and lot many public properties were destroyed, and they were only uh, this darshak, they were only audience or something like this. They didn't try to at least do whatever they could do, and whatever needful they were supposed to do according to this state apparatus functionalities are concerned. That is why, yes, your point was genuine, and that is where people raised. For example, third day people started asking, "Where is president?" Yes, and where is our civilian government? Why army is all of sudden addressing the nation? And you rightly pointed out there was this photo of Prithvi Narayan Saha rather than Rashtrapati, president. So, but I guess. Thanks to international media like you, thanks to Democrats, at least in Nepal and elsewhere, and even thanks to that very Gen Z generation, even if you don't like, because we have to mention this, because that is what is they call an identity is theirs. Okay, we should not tell them what identity they should mention, and definitely we should acknowledge, because this is era of identity as well. So then even Gen Zs, the third day onwards, started asking, we're not there for any other kind of state functionalism, neither military nor monarchical. So we want democracy, we want supremacy of democracy, we want further democratic regime. That is how I guess youth started also offering their voice, and eventually, at least I could say that at least for the time being, we are in the safer side as far as democracy is concerned. As far as kind of anxiety we had the other day, for example, I saw you're one of the podcasts saying that this is a military coup in Nepal. But I guess at least for today, and at least if you see at least political development. Yesterday, President was quite busy to consultate, and eventually out of that consultation, he referred to Constitution of Nepal and appointed her with the kind of mandate of definitely protesters or movement groups, also mentioning constitution and sworning in by himself without having any military shadow would be, I guess, a good gesture for democracy. And thank you very much for alerting us towards that direction.
Yes, you raised a critical point about the police and military not stopping. Now, this is very interesting because, see, if we look at Bangladesh, Hasina wanted to stop the attack on. I'm not supporting her, by the way, but she has many failures. But the attack was on the key point installations, and when you tried to stop that, so obviously the death toll moved up, and as the death toll goes up, you are under more pressure. So I find a lot of similarity in the plot, the way these things. The what is worrying is that is not revolt. Revolt is perfect in a society, but what is worrying is this plot to take over power through simple, strict power. If strict power wins over the debate, over the larger interactions and discourse, then that is very dangerous trend. So, would the in your Facebook posts, yesterday I read one of your Facebook posts about you were arguing for handing over power. If I understand it correctly, your post was in Nepali and it was translated by machine into English. So I read it from there, arguing for handing over power to the youth. And I also, even my previous guest was talking about it. But my point is, let's look at the world and look at the young leaders. Zelensky is young, and look where he had taken his country. We also have another young leader in North Korea. On the contrary, if we look at the Shanghai Cooperation Corporation organization, the top three leaders are 70 plus. BRICS leadership is 70 plus. USA is 80 plus. So, my point is, it is always welcome for youth to join politics, but that doesn't, mean that getting power. The two are different because he or she needs time to mature. So, don't you see a fad about this whole thing? Bangladesh tried this. So far as I understand, they started saying from day one that give power to the youth. So they included some of these people into the cabinet, and it did not yield any positive result. Uh, in India, we tested it once with Rajiv Gandhi. That was a coincidence. He got the historic majority ever, and crash landed. So over to you, Uddhav.
Yes, whatever examples you have offered in this discussion, yes, some are valid. But what was for me this all South Asian revolutions in 5 years' time? If I try to analyze, I try to mention saying, for example, South Asia is not for any authoritarianism and any family rule. For example, Rajapakse was well taken while he did a good thing for Sri Lanka, but once he tried to institutionalize that very politics as family politics, and I guess problem was there. And that was the case for Bangladesh. For example, quite recently, Hasina was elected with majority. And also, she also tried to avoid the opposition voice and etc. That is how eventually the anger could come up, and once anger was there and there were a lot many infiltrations, you're right, some right-wing factions might have taken away that very mandate of the youth. And that is, and for Nepal also, particularly if you see the my post, and I try to subscribe one of the posters this protesters were carrying out during the protest. and what they were saying, and it was valid. Within Nepal, people were fed up of having these three people always bargaining for nonsense and always offering very many agendas to the people, saying that we'll take Nepal to this height and that height, Singapore, sometimes European height. But once they are in the power, they do
They
nothing.
made
For
it a
example,
musical chair among themselves.
yeah, this Prime Minister Oli, once he took power last year, the very agenda he offered to people was to amend the constitution for democratization, further democratization. But that very word was not even taken into consideration in the parliament and within his party. And the one day before the protest started, party constitution was amended, offering him to be in the power as much as he want, and he was also going towards Putin and Xi Jinping model. Okay, so that is how anger was there, and definitely, peaceful protesters, youth, and even within party had a kind of benefit of doubt. If leadership is transformed, might be better thing will happen. So that very benefit of doubt had to be at least acknowledged by at least democratic political structure, and move forward. But what happened was we try to we try to suppress them, and eventually, as I said, if we create a ground, then there would be many interest coming in within the ground. Everyone wanted to play if you create ground. And that's why, for me, yes, definitely, if that leadership was a bit charismatic, if that leadership was a bit deliverable, if that delivers something as they promise before the people, I guess there would be no question. But all narrative works in politics, and the kind of narrative, at least in Nepal, people could be, this old people cannot do anything. Definitely, yes, some old people will be mature. They will know more ups and downs in the life, in the politics, and they might be good choice. But in Nepal, that didn't happen, and I guess we have to analyze South Asian politics in a manner that, for me, I always tell, for example, everyone in South Asia want democracy without being a Democrat, and we still have this feudalistic mindset. We try to build kind of fascist kind of political structure within, once we are in the power. This is my problem. This is your problem. I guess this is the feudalistic legacy we have. So we have to do away with this, and only we could say that yes, age is not a bar, but your vision, your mission, your goal might be kind of taken into consideration. But that level we have to reach uh, by performing by our old generation leadership, I guess.
Okay, you raise there are certain silver linings in Nepal. For example, I saw from in day one or day two itself, some of these youth started questioning the direction of the movement. So that was refreshing because there was questions from within. I also saw one report where it says that some of these protesters said that we are not ready for leading the country. We are not matured enough. And so that takes me to my next question. Uddhab, I live in the largest democracy and the only successful democracy in Asia after South Korea and Japan. The biggest benchmark is the growth of any system, good or bad. Now, that is what I find the democracy debate as a fad created by the West with some motives, because that is where they control us. Closer home, we have a successful monarchy in UAE. We also have the example of Chinese one-party rule. And with one-party rule, they became the world's second largest economy. We are going to be the third largest with democracy. So there are different things. Now, Nepal is, so basic thing is that growth and prosperity are sacrosanct. You can achieve them through whatever medium, which governance style that ever you have, that suits you. Now, what I find, pardon me for this, that Nepal is democracy obsessed, or some people in Nepal are democracy obsessed. You have been fighting for democracy for over 70 years now. For last 25 years, since the civil war, you sacrificed growth opportunities for democracy and federalism. The country has grown at an average of 2% against high inflation, which means negative real growth. For 25 years, your prosperity is superfluous as one third of your GDP comes from remittances. So basically, you sell people abroad, and that's very dangerous. Since 1948, you have had multiple constitutions. I was witness to your excitement about the 2015 constitution when you started it. Now you are faced with a new reality. A group of people destroyed the very democratic institutions. They claim that parliament, court, etc. haven't delivered, so they torched it. For a tourism-oriented economy, you have destroyed some of your heritage even. Are you going to have another constitution, which once again has been a style sheet in both Bangladesh and Pakistan, which failed to stabilize, failed to have democracies actually. These are not democracies, whatever we have in
No,
Pakistan.
I guess kind of signal you could see from yesterday. Definitely, you are right. Every almost 10 years, we have had one new constitution, and this is the seventh constitution in 70 years' time. That is how we try to analyze. But this time, see the maturity. Yes, definitely, destruction was unbelievable and unparalleled with any previous movements. If we try to compare these 2 days kind of revolution, but eventually those revolutionaries came to the conclusion saying that we are not encroaching constitution. Definitely, we need some amendment that is processed. For example, in India also, in 70 years' time, you have more than 150 amendments. That is
Right.
obvious, and
That is very normal. That is very
that is
normal.
done. And the message this time you could see is, at least thanks to those angry youth, they are not demanding for new constitution. They are asking for some amendment that is genuine, that is democratic. But I guess this 2025, 2015 constitution will be sustained in the future, and I believe that very constitution is workable to accommodate every grievances, every limitations, and every angers within the country.
That's great. Uh, let's wrap this up discussion in a positive note. Uh, how long do you believe uh, Justice Karki has just taken over? So I'm sure the next few weeks you will hear a lot about the promises or the agendas that are coming out, and you will really face the real issues as from now onwards. How long do you believe you will take to rebuild your country? Unfortunately, you are rebuilding your country once in a decade.
Yes, that is a tricky question. Yes, definitely, kind of destruction you could see takes at least a half a decade, because yes, for outsider and for me also, I have not gone beyond my house for couple of days, and I also saw in television and etc. Everything got destroyed, but fortunately we could see, for example, yesterday president could operate kind of a ceremony being within president's house, meaning yes, outside things were totally destroyed, but still there are some spaces, meaning the kind of videos and the kind of news are coming might be a bit to be taken into consideration, saying that yes, destructions were there, but not that much. The extent we try to assume. So Shia Darbar also, yes, there were three ministries only destroyed, others might be functionable. So So it may take half a decade, a huge amount of money we have to spend, and out of that also, I sense a lot many corruption happens because yes, yes, definitely leaders were challenged, but there is bureaucracy and there are other those thekedar, this who builders and etc. They are also as corrupt as politicians. In fact, they compel politicians to be also similar to them because they never try to realize that public money should be considered as public, not as private. So there is big challenge for reconstruction, and definitely it takes quite a big time. Even 5 years and with billion of dollars is not a kind of small issue for countries like us. Uh, then I guess you are right. For example, to handle this situation for Prime Minister, Lady Prime Minister, Madam Karki, she has lot many challenges and lot many issues to handle together with, because she has to handle properly with the political parties, because even today the largest political forces will be parliamentary forces. She has to go with young generation's aspiration. She has to also deal with some of the conspirators, right-wing factors, because they were also in the movement and they might try to find ways to encroach constitution, and also try to create kind of water so that they can play like the situation in Bangladesh and etc. So uh, pushing country towards election in 6 months and having also rebuilding of the state infrastructure is kind of issue for at least 6 months. And I guess if there is will, then if she has this caliber at least to be negotiative with others, be very transparent discussant as a prime minister, I guess she can do this within the time. And parties had to do a lot. For example, as I pointed out, and you also tried to mention, definitely if parties are going with this very old leadership in the future for election, I guess that will be kind of destruction for Nepal democracy. That will be unfortunate situation for democracy, because none of their own cadre are going to vote for that party. Meaning, there will be space for reactionaries, definitely. So this very time for you and for me could be, if we want democracy in Nepal, we have to we have to alert political parties just to revisit kind of their agenda, their leadership according to the people's interest. Don't try to again don't try to again not to listen this political agenda coming all the way in the street. That is not only youth. I guess their own party leaders are frustrated by the way they are doing. So might be this restructuring is restructuring of today's party system, and restructuring of leadership within the party might be kind of takeaway message for the future of Nepali democracy and for the future of the country, I guess.
Yes, that's of course. I mean, it's not about young or old, it is about the efficiency. That is what matters. And about you said about corruption and etc. So I'm ending this with something I don't know whether you are aware. So in Bangladesh, Hasina's one of the bearers, some driver or peon, someone uh, had built 400 crores of asset. Now, in 1 year in Bangladesh, so one advisor's PA has one of these new ones, the student ones, created assets worth over 300 crores. So, so unfortunately, progress can also happen on this front because some people who have never tasted power will try to optimize the opportunity.
100%. That is what is our concern. If political parties themselves get corrected, then might be situation will be different. But if they don't follow kind of mandate, and if new forces are coming up, that new forces might be reactionary one. And I guess that is how Bangladesh situation was there. That is why
Exactly.
we want commitment of democracy, and that commitment should be first within the democratic forces, within the political parties, within the established political parties, because they have history, they have, for example, this leadership also went through kind of social agenda initially. Yes, definitely, I mentioned, for example, some of them got corrupted because of our own system, and I have to rethink on my own way of doing. You have to rethink on your own way of doing, because largely politics of reflection of politics and political leadership is a reflection of I myself and my society.
Right. No, I mean, there has to be amendments in the way forward, and the government, the issue is not about what kind of government, democratic, monarchy, or whatever. The basic point is that it has to deliver, and it has to deliver, it has to be it has to earn people's trust, and it has to govern. So these are the basic things. I mean, governance, basic governance. Thanks for joining the show. In the morning,
Thank you, friend journalist, which who always try to engage me in India and Nepal politics. Thank you very much.